What's up, you guys? Shelby Howard here with Warwick County Soil and Water Conservation District. Thanks again for joining us on Hippie Hump Day. I am trying to wear my hippie attire, if you will, and today we are going to talk about habitat. You can have it in your own backyard or front yard, big or small, no matter what the size of your property is, and we can make it happen. Are you guys ready? Okay, before you all get started, because I know you're just chomping at the bit to get started, is 3 questions. The first one is, what habitat naturally grows in your area? What have you seen previously grow? What do you see growing nearby to you? Is a great indicator of what kind of habitat that might be easy for you to produce on your property. So as you guys saw, the second question is, what kind of wildlife do you even want? And while I can't tell you specifically what kind of wildlife you do want on your property, I can tell you that the answer to getting that wildlife on your property is through plants. Any kind of animal that you possibly think of is going to need a plant for food, for shelter, for as a host plant, for example, monarchs or any other type of butterfly. They typically have a different plant where they lay their eggs and their larva eats that plant. So think about those kinds of factors. The nice thing is, a lot of plants have multiple functions. For instance, milkweed not only provides nectar for the monarch butterfly or other butterflies, it is the host plant for the monarch butterflies. The nectar, though, is used by many other butterflies and moths other than the monarch butterfly, which is pretty cool. If you want birds on your property, you have to think about what kind of food they eat. Is it seeds? Is it insects? Is it nectar, if you're wanting hummingbirds? So that will really determine what kind of plants you put on your property. Do remember that native plants are the option or the solution, not invasive species. So there's very few invasive species that serve such a large range like native plants do. Yes, they might be able to serve a few, but they definitely don't provide themselves as a resource for the huge diversity that our native plants have evolved to give to their native animals. And I could talk about this forever and ever and ever, and you would all just slowly die inside. And so I don't want that, so I'm not going to bore you with all of the details. But just know, no matter what type of wildlife that you want to attract to your property, it's going to start with what plants. Not what kind of food you put out, but what kind of plants that you put in your property. And then the third and final question is, what kind of resources or how much time do I have to manage this? The really awesome thing about native wild habitats is that it actually takes a lot less maintenance. Will it be ugly? People always ask. No, it does not have to be ugly. You can landscape wildflowers beautifully. The great thing is, typically they require less water than your annuals or cultivars, and they also come back every year. But all wildflowers are different, or wild plants are different, so some do need more water than others, so keep that in mind of what kind of habitat, again, like the first question, you're putting it in. And if you really like prairies or meadows, do know those have to be cut back or maintained a little more, so think about those kinds of resources too. Alright guys, that is all I have for you today. I hope you didn't think it was too vague, but the reason I kept it so general is because it's going to differ so much between each property, and especially depending on what kind of wildlife you want. If you need any sort of assistance in wondering where to start, we are more than happy to be a resource for you, and I know your local SWCD would be willing to be a resource as well. If you do have a larger piece of property, the NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, is also a great resource for technical and even financial assistance. So continue to watch after this. I have some pictures of example wild landscapes as well as some ideas for your property. Thanks again, guys, for watching Hippie Hump Day. This could be a really bad idea with the traffic. No one's staying home. So I can hear myself on the video. Hopefully you guys can too. Turns out this sweatshirt or shirt is heavily attracting all of the bees to my body. It's not a good idea. Does anyone else notice how every single video my hair is different? It's Hippie Hump Day! Woo! As you can see, this is my new work uniform. The indifference is set in. See these stains? That's not water. That's there for good. I think that's toothpaste. I'm not sure. There's my breakfast. I'm so bored.